party, but you're feeling just a little uptight. Call the doctor, beg and plead. Doctor, tell me what I need. Try to put a little cheese in your knee.
Bubbles and balloons, bubbles and balloons. What's a birthday party with the bubbles and balloons? Star-shaped or trapezoid, look what I can do. Only Pinkie Pie can make a bubble shape like you.
Just let yourself go floppy. For now, this is your chance. Pretend you have no bones and do the rubber chicken dance.
Hello, and welcome to the Heroic Review. This is our weekly episode review, and this week we're reviewing Season 4's Episode 12, Pinkie Pride, with story by Jason Thayson and written by Amy Keating-Rogers. In this week's episode, Pinkie Pie is revealed to have another sister. I'm Deadlyreg, your moderator, and joining me this week is Goombasa.
Hello, everybody.
GreyRamos.
Hola, amigos.
PDK.
안녕하세요.
Reverb.
Hello, everyone.
Swedely.
Good day.
Webshoter.
Hello, everyone.
All right, first up, let's have general opinions. Goombasa?
Oh my god, this episode was so good. With the Weird Al and the songs and the party and the live-action dancing chicken. Planet Earth is a better place now with this episode here.
You took the words right out of my mouth. This was a fantastic episode. The singing, the animation, and again, the live-action chicken.
I'm conflicted. I'm a big Pinkie Pie fan, as we've established, but I really don't care one iota about Weird Al. And I guess I'm just going to have to be the cynic again in this episode. There's a few problems I had with it, but I can see why the fans are going to go crazy over it.
I don't really like this episode. There's a few parts of it which I just see as major plot holes that I could not imagine ever happening. And yeah, as a whole, I don't really like it. I mean, it's got some awesome parts, but I just can't get over some of the plot holes.
I really like this episode. It was a lot of fun. I can see where people might have thought it was annoying, but I'm easy to please, so I really enjoyed it. And I loved all the new faces we got, like all the angry faces from Pinkie Pie, and so much of one character. You know the one. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
I'm gonna have to agree with Goombasa and Swedely. I straight up loved it. There were some times that I actually had to pause, step away from the episode because I was just laughing too much.
I thought it was alright. It had Weird Al in it. I quite enjoy Weird Al. Okay, getting on to the general discussion of the episode. I'd just like to broach the subject of how this episode came about. Jason Thayson, the show director, got a credit for story. He approached Weird Al Yankovic over Twitter after Weird Al saw a picture of himself done up as a pony, showed some interest in the show. Jason Thayson spoke to him over Twitter. William Anderson, who's the show's score composer, actually played harmonica and some other instruments with Weird Al in Weird Al's band. This is the first episode not to have any score by Anderson, because Daniel Ingram and Stephen Andrews did everything, partially because it was mostly musical.
That's pretty funky.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where do we want to start, guys?
I have an opinion.
Go for it.
This should have been Andrew WK and not Weird Al Yankovic.
That would have been interesting, but I feel like it would have also been a lot more violent.
No.
It doesn't necessarily need to be violent, it just needs to be about the party. And I think Weird Al is about 20 years too old for the target audience.
I don't know about Andrew WK because I don't think there would have been any conflict, because Andrew WK is a party man and he parties the same way Pinkie does, to the extreme, but also with respect.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm just saying, for me, it would have been a better fit, but I can guess it wouldn't really fit in the show.
We also have to bear in mind that Andrew WK's particular brand of high-intensity party action unfortunately isn't as child-friendly as the accordion melody that Weird Al likes to bring.
Well, there's some things that isn't exactly child-friendly when it comes to Weird Al, but he's still enjoyable.
Yeah, they toned him down, so...
They toned him down. What do we think about Pinkie Pie in this episode? Amy Keating-Rogers has a long track history of writing for Pinkie Pie. The last time she wrote for her was Murmur Mystery on the Friendship Express, but prior to that she wrote Friend Indeed, which was a fairly decent Pinkie Pie episode. She got a lot of flack for the way that Pinkie Pie came out in Murmur Mystery on the Friendship Express because she seemed overly foolish and the other characters in it weren't written so well. So what did we think of Pinkie and the writing in general?
She was enjoyable. She was having her drama moment, I guess you might be able to call that.
The moment of Pinkie's self-reflection lasted about 2 minutes, which is great because we had the episode which was about Pinkie's moment of self-reflection about who she is, which was the Mirror Lake episode, Too Many Pinkie Pies, where there was too many Pinkie Pies. We got a more coherent, well, it was incoherent because it was a Polski script, but we got a decent look at Pinkie Pie trying to realize who she is, and she's not just a crazy idiotic monster who likes to party all the time. There's more to it.
No, she's far from it.
But more to the point, I felt like Pinkie was really well done in this episode. And I think we all, in one way or another, can relate to how she felt, like it was Pinkie being out Pinkie.
I think that's one of the reasons why this episode benefits very heavily from being a musical episode, because it is very believable, these big realizations and sort of tonal shifts and mood swings that Pinkie goes through, and the way that her friends sort of sway from her to cheese sandwich so quickly and then back again.
Something I actually really quite like about Pinkie's character and the actual writing with Pinkie in this episode is how intensely they delve into her character crisis and how she actually properly breaks down. It's like, they don't sort of wash over it. They really go in and she really questions about everything about herself, and it really affects her, and that's something I really quite like, because sometimes they just quickly brush over a problem like it's not really that big a deal or it's not really affecting them as much, but I really quite like how they did that with Pinkie Pie in this.
I would disagree with that, because I think they went more into her being really gutted in Party of One, and this was, she started taking down and cuddled a balloon till it deflated, and then she went, no, actually, I'm going to go out there and prove who I am. And I don't think they went into it, but I don't think they needed to either, because like we said, we've seen this before, and we've seen all the characters, I think, by now questioning themselves, and this, like the Rainbow Dash and the other episodes of season 4, has just had a bit of a different slant on the self-realization each of the characters is having leading up to the end.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, kind of off of what all y'all just said, is that I was expecting the deflated mane, Pinkamina to show up, and I was actually glad that didn't happen, because I think the way that they did it, just kind of how they didn't address it, but did. Does that make sense?
I know what you mean. They didn't do the deflated mane, which was great, because we've had the deflated mane 3 times now, and the fact they didn't immediately go back and use it is
this time they didn't do a deflated mane. They did droopy mane, so pretty much.
They did slightly droopy mane, which reflected that Pinkie Pie was still Pinkie Pie.
Something else I wanted to bring up was the animation in this episode was fantastic. That droopy mane and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome.
It had a lot of new facial expressions from Pinkie Pie.
I think the best part about this episode in terms of its animation was the amount of facial expressions that they managed to pull out, especially in that scene where Pinkie first challenges Cheese Sandwich to a goof off, and I still love the name of that contest. But it's almost as if they said to themselves, quick, try and get all the faces into this scene.
Yeah, there was a lot of exciting new vectorable images that we'll soon see showing up on DeviantArt.
I was just going to say, I kind of got annoyed a little bit by just the sheer amount of jump cuts in this. I know they were just packing everything in because it was a high octane episode, but yeah, Face is brilliant. Kind of got dizzy by the end of just everyone jumping around and the scenes cutting to one another so quickly.
But that suits the style of Pinkie and Cheese.
Yeah, but just like I said, kind of got to me. Too many.
Not inappropriate, but certainly distracting.
Too fast of a ride.
The ride never ends. In that regard, let's move on to the goof off, because I think we've discussed Pinkie Pie sufficiently.
The puppet rubber chicken and the real life gummy. Oh my gosh, I did not see that coming.
The real life rubber chicken was made by Jason Thayson in his basement and recorded it there. It was made of balloons.
Wow.
Did he make the crocodile as well?
He didn't make the crocodile. The crocodile's mum and dad made the crocodile.
Okay. See, for me, that's delving into SpongeBob SquarePants territory.
But the last time we saw non-standard animation like this was the felt Pinkie Pie. That was in A Friend Indeed, and that again was Amy Keating Rogers. So she likes to do stuff like this for some reason.
I think that it worked out very, very well in terms of the visual humor and the visual gags. And during the Goof Off, I've got to say that I really, really enjoyed the song that they used. The way that every time it switched between Cheese Sandwich and Pinkie Pie, the way that it switched between their verses and the song would just sort of change from the upbeat tune that Pinkie's been using throughout the episode to Weird Al's signature polka tune was very well done, especially when he goes and steals a short bit from the Smile song. I thought that was hilarious.
It's quite meta. Quite meta.
It was fantastic.
They stuck to what Weird Al does best.
Well, he's not an actor. What he does best is parody songs about food. So it was about cheese, so very appropriate.
I do think that he actually did a very good job as an actor in this episode, at least, but I think that's more a credit to the fact that it's animation, and you can get away with a lot more in animation than you can in live action.
Yeah, he does a good voice. All right, Goof Off. Were we entertained by the Goof Off?
Do you even have to ask that question?
Okay, we all loved the Goof Off. That's done. That's in the bag. So, does anyone want to add anything else, or shall we move on to the lesson that was learned this episode?
Pinkie singing in Spanish.
Pinkie did sing in Spanish. What was she singing about?
She said, "Go, go, go. Do not waste your destination, because if you lose it, you lose the way."
Oh, okay. So she sang that little bit, and then the cake thing fell on Rainbow Dash. And then Pinkie learned a lesson.
Before we go on to the other thing, do you guys want to know my main problem with the episode?
Yes.
My biggest problem is, at the start, you've got the whole town acknowledging that they love Pinkie. We've seen in Magical Mystery Cure, she is the center of the town. Everyone loves Pinkie's parties. And as soon as this other guy comes in, they all just leave her. Like, straight away. Even all her friends. I just could not possibly imagine them doing that.
My point is the same point I think I've raised in the last 3 reviews. The element of loyalty is a freaking terrible element of loyalty.
Well, I mean, it's not just Rainbow Dash, it's all of them.
I know, but she leaves at every available opportunity. Why the heck she's loyalty, I do not know.
Yeah.
You could make the same argument about Applejack and honesty, but that's not why we were here today. What I wanted to say was, I actually kind of believe it because it's not like this is something that hasn't happened before in Ponyville. The Ponyvillians have been shown to be very fickle when it comes to newcomers, such as their treatment of Zecora, their unnatural fear of her, and the way that whenever something happens in this town, regardless of whether it's good or bad, there is just this sudden mob mentality that overtakes them all. So I would actually argue that it's very in character of the town in its entirety to go, oh look, there is a shiny new party pony in town.
Perhaps the town, sure, but her direct friends... I mean, I'm thinking in comparison here to Flim and Flam. The entire town did get swept up with them, except all of Applejack's friends were much more hesitant, sort of, well, what's going on here? And I mean, this is like taking away from Pinkie Pie. I mean, she was setting up this party. They had the banners up and everything. They were ready to go. And then they just left her there without a second thought.
She only made one banner, so...
They went through the entire town buying all the supplies. I mean, the party was, like, nearly ready to go.
Pretty much just slapped it in the face for her almost.
Massive.
Well, her friends did admit at the end that they got swept up with Cheese Sandwich and they apologized. So I think that worked out just fine in the end.
I think Reverb's point is how many times has this already happened? And for them to do it again in season 4.
Pinkie Pie is horribly emotionally insecure and she should probably get over that. And hopefully this episode is about that because this guy shows up and all the friends are like, hey, let's let this guy plan the party because he's an epic party planner. And then add the bit, because Pinkie organizes every party ever, let's let this guy have a try. And Pinkie's like, yeah, it's a good idea. Let's let this guy do it. If you have a problem, Pinkie, you should probably say, rather than just pretending everything's okay and tipping the watering can everywhere and lying to your friends.
But isn't it... She went full Pinkamena in previous times where she thought people were ignoring her and she knows that hurt her friends. So now she's kind of, I'll just pretend it's okay for their sake. The same way Rainbow Dash pretended to be ill for their sake so she didn't upset feelings. It's the same lessons with different characters.
When Cheese Sandwich comes in and he's singing a song about how he's the best party planner, and Pinkie's like, yeah, I'm a great party planner too. And they all go off. The song's not the time to discuss whether or not you're also a good party planner. After the song, when he's planning the party, you approach him then and be like, hey, can I help? Like, she handled this really badly. This is all Pinkie's fault. If she just kept her eye on the prize, which was having a good party arranged for Rainbow Dash, which was the lesson Pinkie learned, that it's not all about Pinkie, it's about this person having fun, then she wouldn't have been such a grade A basket case, and we wouldn't have had this episode. There would have been no conflict. It's all her fault.
I reckon it's all on her friends.
No, I disagree entirely. The guy comes up and he's like, I'm going to host this party. And everyone's like, yeah, let's let this guy have a chance.
She's nearly finished it. It's nearly ready to go.
Put up a banner and she probably baked a cake or something. Right? We don't know what they've done. Right? She's made a banner and stuff. She's organising the party. They ask her if it's okay and she says yes.
Do they?
Both Rainbow Dash and Twilight approach her asking her if this is okay. And both times she confirms that yes, she's okay with it after she's licked the salty tears from her own eyeballs.
Yeah, that was the time. That was the time Pinkie Pie could have said anything at all to say she was unhappy and approach the subject maturely.
And Rainbow Dash even shows that she's a little uncomfortable with what's happening after the Goof Offs start. She says, nothing like a big tense competition on my Birthi-Versaries.
Well, if you'll remember, Rainbow Dash is already tense because Pinkie Pie jumps on her and tells her that parties are the most serious business imaginable. Rainbow's already uncomfortable with the intensity Pinkie Pie's approaching this party with. She's making it unfun.
I read that as more humorous. Do you hate Pinkie Pie? You're getting very annoyed.
I thought Fee was supposed to be the one that didn't like Pinkie Pie, not you.
Fee loves Pinkie Pie.
Yeah, Fee just doesn't like how she's treated most of the time.
Well, the season 4's gotten better. It was only the first episode where it was really just shockingly bad how she was written. But I've conceded that other people find Pinkie Pie a really hard character to deal with because the way she's written is sometimes, oh, she's so dumb and she likes parties. But when she's written well, I mean, I enjoy her in pretty much everything. But I have to say, yeah, she's sometimes treated just abysmally.
I'll second that.
I enjoyed her in this, very much so. I just didn't enjoy this particular episode, I don't think. Now I think about it more.
Well, you're just heartless.
Let's just briefly say there was at least two Derpy sightings. How do we feel about that?
3.
Oh, Derpy, that chocolate fountain's for everybody.
It's all for Derpy. All praise the derp.
She didn't do a full head-in fountain like Pinkie would.
It's true.
Derpy is more refined than that.
You say that?
I do say that.
We did see a tiny baby Derpy hopping around in one of the flashbacks.
So adorable.
It was adorable. Okay, what did we think about today's lesson? And that lesson was...
Don't let your pride get in the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Given that the episode was called Pinkie Pride, I think that's a pretty accurate summation of the episode's theme.
If you're doing something for your friends and someone else comes along to do it better than you, don't let your pride get in the way and ruin the moment for your friends.
I think even more than that, don't let your obsession with something ruin the thing you're doing. There's a reason it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, because what do they do in the end? They compromise, they work together, and it turns out awesome. And now I really want my own fruit punch hot tub.
It would be very sticky.
It would taste disgusting.
Gummy's favorite punch?
Another problem I have. Cheese, he was inspired by Pinkie in the flashback, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
In the full sense of parties make everyone happy, and he wants to make everyone happy, so he basically follows Pinkie's exact route of wanting to be a party planner for that exact same reason.
Because he saw Pinkie doing it, yep.
Then why would he bombard Pinkie and basically just take over the party from her?
Because he wants to prove to her that he's the best party planner. Because he loves her parties, and he wants to prove to her that he's as good a party planner as her.
Why didn't he say that?
Because, as we've pointed out, both of these characters were too prideful. They let their pride get in the way of their ability to communicate. Pinkie Pie was too proud to admit that someone else could do a party plan better, and Cheese Sandwich was too proud to let her help him because he assumed, as I read into the character, that would mean that he couldn't impress her. Has anyone got anything else to add?
What about the fact that there was like 6 songs or something in this episode?
Was a pretty musical episode. Do we know how long the songs were? How much proportion
it was? Nearly half. It was like 10 minutes something of the entire episode.
What does that compare to Magical Mystery Cure?
I was thinking it'd be pretty similar.
It came about the same length, yeah.
Okay, so we have an episode that's as musical as the musical episode. So that's good. That's interesting.
I am going to have to say that my 2 favorite songs was when Pinkie starting to realize that, hey, I'm still good at what I do. I got to get down there and bring out smiles. And then the other favorite song was when the party was all going full swing, and it was the Make-A-Wish song.
I like both of those songs as well. What I like most about the songs is all the disco lights and disco dancing. Anybody else like that? No?
They did use a lot of disco.
I liked pretty much all of the songs. I really enjoyed the first song, which had its tune reused several times during other songs as sort of a motif for Pinkie throughout the episode. As I noted during the Goof Off song, I loved how they switched up the music between Pinkie and Cheese's verses. The only one that I really had a bit of a problem with was the last one, because that pop beat comes right out of nowhere, and I'm not sure, but I think it might have been reworked from Equestria Girls, because it reminded me a lot about the music from the movie.
Same here. It had that same poppy, generic vibe.
It did have that feel to it, but at the same time, that song reminded me of Love Is in Bloom from the wedding episode.
That was less generic, in my opinion, though. Like, all the Equestria Girl songs, they were just, yeah, that sort of thing, But Love Is in Bloom, that one just stuck out, and it grabbed me, gave me goosebumps, and was like, I love you.
Reverb, as our resident music writer, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts pretty much got covered by a lot of you guys. I really liked some of the particular ones you picked out where Pinkie changed their mind, wants to go back, and that sort of pump-up song. Actually, really something which I thought was interesting with music is how she was talking about the Canterlot wedding one, and she was saying how everyone loved the party more when she was looking at the photos, like, here's the Canterlot wedding, and here's when I took over the music. I thought, stealing it from vinyl, I thought that was really quite funny. But yeah, the songs in this, I mean, there was actually a couple which I thought sounded really similar in a couple of ways. Like the one when she was really sad, I thought sounded really similar to something else. I couldn't really put my finger on what it was. But yeah, I thought some of the songs here were really good, but yeah, didn't really stand out a lot to me as a whole. But I'm really picky with my music anyway.
Anyone have anything to add?
Apparently, Rainbow Dash is 21 years old.
Yep, 21 candles.
21 candles that we could see. God knows if there was more, or if it's just a random symbol of that's how big the cake was.
She went around the cake, so did you guys add in the ones which would have been behind based on the spacing?
That's what I just said, Rainbow.
I got 37, roughly.
Okay, Rainbow Dash is 37 years old. Okay, confirmed here on Heroic Review.
Horses age quicker than people, sort of like dog years and cat years, and there's also horse years.
So they'll all be dead soon.
Dead, she ages faster.
These are magic ponies.
Derpy will never die.
These are magic ponies, and she has wings, and her friends have horns. I think we can discount the aging process here.
I agree with Goombasa. Confirmed for 21 here on Heroic Review. Thank you. PDK?
I was going to say, we've got nothing else. We could end on the fact that, yet again, the internet is bringing up why the ever-living crap is Twilight Sparkle a princess. She's still not done anything in this season to warrant it.
She read the rules. That's pretty important.
Didn't she read the rules and then fly away? Did she appear later in the episode?
No.
She didn't even come to the party. She just flew away when I'm out of here.
Alright, why is she a princess? Because Celestia made her a princess. Now, how is she acting like a princess? The way Celestia acted. Get involved when absolutely needed, or when you feel like you gotta make a showing.
No, she got involved because she likes books.
And then just get the heck out of there and don't do nothing.
It's true that basically she just started some shit and flew off. That sounds a lot like what Celestia gets up to.
Maybe she's like a princess in training, like she's just working her way into it.
Yeah, but who's training her?
She's learning for herself.
She's got a book.
Celestia said there's no books. Unless that was a lie.
She's writing her own book on how to be a princess and fumbling through it.
Celestia said there will be plenty of time for that later. She never said there weren't books.
I've got something. Would you guys imagine that Cheerilee is a few years older than the rest of the main 6.
It's feasible.
Yeah, I can imagine.
No,
that.
I would think she's about the same age.
I always thought she'd be a bit older because around the age of Big Mac, so like maybe, I don't know, we'll say if they're human years, like 5-6 years older.
I never really got that. I always assumed she was the same age as everyone else, unless you're saying automatically that teachers are older than...
No, 'cause I just thought because she paired out with Big Mac in like a really similar sort of way. She had the picture that she showed the kids when it was sort of a slightly different time period in a strange way. I thought she'd be older because of that. Well, anyway, in Pinkie's flashback, she was there without a cutie mark.
Everyone was there without a cutie mark. Oh, that means she must be the same age as everybody else.
That's why I was
Confirmed
thinking.
on Heroic Review. This was the Heroic Review. Joining me today was Goombasa,
Sayonara, everybody.
Grey,
See y'all.
PDK,
And young.
Reverb,
Thanks for listening.
Swedely,
Stay frosty.
and Webshoter.
See y'all in the future.
I was your moderator, Deadlyreg, and thank you for listening.